Hi everyone. Just to kick off the book discussion on six thinking hats, which we are having today, that is 20th March 2021. Six Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono. Personally, I think education in schools and colleges really does not prepare us for life. Nobody teaches us the importance of thinking, and thinking guides our decisions, it guides our perceptions, how we deal with people. And that's why I think this is like a gem of a book on learning to think and learning to think in the right direction. So I'm going to cover the white hat, and I'm going to cover chapters 1 to 9 of this book. And chapter 1 basically introduced the concept of parallel thinking. And I found it so interesting to note that, what is parallel thinking? I'd never heard the term before this, that at any moment everyone is looking in the same direction. And this is so important when you have a discussion or a debate, or you're in a meeting and you want to decide something. It's very important that at that particular moment everyone is looking in the same direction, whether they are thinking about things neutrally, or they're thinking about things from an emotional perspective, or they're looking at possibilities, or they're looking at dangers. And this is what the book propounds, that everybody should try wearing the hat, which could be white, red, black, yellow, green, blue, any of these hats. And at that time, if everyone wears that hat, then they're able to make better decisions. Now, my key takeaways from this chapter were that the six hats in different colors, are not descriptions of the people who are wearing those hats, but they are modes of behavior. And the point of parallel thinking is that everyone's experience and intelligence should be used in the same direction. Okay. And at that particular time, that is, if everybody is thinking neutrally, it helps. If everybody is being objective, it helps. If everybody is being emotional at that particular point of time, maybe each one brings their own experience and intelligence to that particular and that situation, and that particular color of the hat which they are wearing. And most times, sadly, we use thinking to parade our egos and to attack people and to put other people down. That's how we use thinking, and not because we choose argument or conflict as the best way. All of us know that it's not the best way, but it's sadly the only way we know. And the second chapter is a brief on the different hats and what they stand for. So, the white hat, which is for neutrality or objectiveness, that stands for data, facts, information that is known or it is needed. The red hat stands for feelings, emotions, how you think, your hunch, your instinct, intuitions. Then the black hat stands for difficulties, potential problems, dangers, why something won't work. Yellow hat stands for values and benefits, why something may work. The blue hat is a process hat, which is managing the next steps. What are the actions that we need to take to execute this? And the green hat is a creative hat, that is solutions, alternatives, new ideas. Before we take a look at how to use a white hat, or more about white hat thinking, let's just take a look at how we can use the six thinking hats in discussions and deliberations. The author says that don't use an evolving sequence and don't try and use every hat. So if you have a preset sequence for a meeting or discussion where you say, okay, we will start with the blue hat and we will then all wear the white hat and then the green hat, that might work better, a preset sequence. And this is appropriate for decision making, problem solving, exploration, dispute resolution, and decision making. Okay, using the white hat is beneficial in all these areas of human interactions, and it is advisable that everyone wears the blue hat at the beginning or and at the end, because blue at the beginning establishes the background, the context, the it defines a problem and it puts before you what you want to achieve. So in any discussion or deliberation that you have, always it's important to remember, okay, what do I want to achieve at the end of this discussion, and that keeps you on track, and the blue hat helps. Then blue at the end is also recommended because it will help you to establish outcomes, conclusions, design the solution, and the next steps which are to be taken. Now, some other pointers as far as the six thinking hats are concerned, that black should not be used after blue, because if we start thinking about problems and dangers, we never move ahead. We might tend to hold ourselves back. Then green, yellow and black hats are useful for individual thinking within groups. So when an individual thinks, he might wear these hats so that he is able to contribute better as a team player. White is recommended for the beginning and at the end. Beginning for background establishment and end for an assessment, objective background and an objective assessment. That is very important. White is neutral, as I've already mentioned, and white forces us to think or makes us think about what information do we have, what is that information which we need, which we do not have, which we need to get, what information is missing and might be critical to help us to take a decision, what questions do we need to ask to get that information, and how are we going to get the information that we need, which are the sources we need to tap, how much time, which mode, all these things. Now the white hat is a convenient way to ask for facts and figures in a neutral and objective manner. But one must be careful not to overwhelm other people with information. So when you have information, put it across in a neutral manner without letting your personal bias, judgment, what you think, what you estimate, what you fear coming in. It also helps to have focused and suitable questions that are essential to seek information when you're using the white hat. And the person asking for the information must be wearing the white hat himself. Now, chapter 5 is on white hat thinking. That is, whose fact is it? Who is the person who is presenting this fact? Now, is this actually a fact, or is it just a likelihood that there are chances of something happening? Or is it raining, or is it likely to rain? Something like that. Is it a belief? Now, a belief is very different from a fact. It is very different from the truth. It might be very different from reality. So, is it a belief? And are there any facts? You need to focus on this. Now, what are facts? Facts are checkable experiences. So, you check facts before using them. This is also very important. And don't exaggerate facts. Like, if you say that all swans are white, this is not a fact. You can say that majority of swans in this world are white. This may be a better fact than, and actually close to reality. You can check this with statistics and facts before you use this. So don't exaggerate things. Chapter 6 tells us a little bit about the Japanese style input with regard to the use of the white hat. Now, the Japanese notion is such that ideas emerge like seedlings and they mature, grow, and take shape as you allow them to. Instead of arguing and hammering something into a into shape, which is what we think. Okay, I will argue my point, or even in the Western approach, it's like I keep arguing and pushing for my way, and then that's how I'm going to prove things. So the Japanese style input says that each participant wears the white hat and gives his piece of neutral information. And slowly, because each person gives one bit of neutral information, what emerges is a much more richer and more complete picture that helps better decision making. And chapter 7 is about facts, truths, and philosophy. Now, truth is related to philosophy. Whereas facts, as I mentioned just a little bit earlier, they are connected to checkable experience. So, white hat thinking is about usable information, practical purpose. There's nothing absolute about it, and it is more about a direction in which we work and strive to get better. So, this is what is mentioned in chapter 7 as far as white hat thinking is concerned. These are the significant or pertinent points. Then in chapter 8, there's a little bit of talk about who puts on the hat. So you put on your own white hat, or you can ask someone else to put it on if you are unable to be neutral and objective. Ask everyone to put it on, so that, like in the Japanese input, it might give you a more richer and more complete picture. And choose to answer with the hat on. So if there's a question that is posed, try to answer it objectively. And most times what happens is we get lost in who is saying it, instead of whether what is being said is right or correct. I think white hat thinking compels us to do this, to be objective about what is being said rather than who is saying it, how they are saying it, what is their tone when they said it. And chapter 9 is a summary of white hat thinking. That is, you can act like a computer. White hat thinking makes you act like a computer. Computers unaffected by the facts or the numbers that you feed in, and the output also is unaffected by feelings, emotions, because the computer doesn't have one. So act like a computer. Take the inputs in and then process them objectively to solve problems. Then have a two-tier system. That is, you can have facts which are checked and facts which are not fully checked, in order to have better quality decisions. Because if you don't check up and see if the what is being stated as a fact is authentic or not, then obviously that is going to hamper the quality of the decisions that you take. Always true to never true spectrum. This needs to be it needs to be taken into consideration. Something that is always true. Okay, so if the temperature falls below so much, there's always going to be rainfall, or there's always going to be rain and snow. These it's like always true to never true. So every time it becomes cloudy, does it rain? No, it's not always true. So does it rain in say in February? Might be in, or does it rain in the desert in a particular month? Then that might be never true. So you have to consider this spectrum as far as facts which are being presented are concerned. And the usable levels, by and large, where you want to use white hat thinking, you want to use it sometimes, you want to use it occasionally. This is what you need to determine. And remember that white hat thinking is a discipline and a direction. And actually, people who employ white hat thinking as thinkers, they strive to be more neutral and objective in the presentation of information. So thank you. That was my part as far as Edward de Bono's Six Thinking Hat goes. And I hope it was not too lengthy. Thank you.